here. Thank you so much for being here. It's what is it? It's 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you're interested in participating in our live streams, I'm going live on Mondays and on Fridays at 9 a.m. Central. So I would love to have you here. One quick favor, as you're coming in, let me know where you're listening from, but also let me know if this audio is okay. I have to toggle between the different systems that I use whenever I live stream, from the podcast last night and then from our live streams in the morning. So a huge thank you in advance for everyone that's going to help me test the audio. So as you're coming in, let me know where you're listening in from, and also give me a good thumbs up on the. Here we go. Give me a huge thumbs up on the. Hey, this is good audio or not. All right, so again, thank you so much for being here. We're not going to delay too much. I understand that the notifications are going out, so the quicker that you get to the like button. So just one quick favor, as you're coming in, if you hit that like button, it's going to really help out the live stream. So we want the notifications to go out. I want to make sure that we're over here on Facebook as well. And then we're going to talk about a topic that I'm really fond of because it's one that I neglected for years. And I mean for absolute years. And that's building an email list. An email list is something that I can't even give you a good reason as to why I didn't start building an email list from the beginning. So I know there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of emails that I'm never going to capture at this point because I started relatively late in the game. So I had already had 3 to 5 years in the world that I'm doing right now. So in the industry that I'm in at the moment, and I just didn't think enough to start capturing emails. So I just don't want you, I don't want the same thing for you. So as we get going, again, a huge thank you for being here, and also a huge thank you in advance for hitting that like button. Today we're going to cover building an email list extremely fast and for free. Now there's going to be some elements here that I show you how to go paid, but for all intents and purposes, you don't need to pay to build a healthy email list. You can go from 0 to 10,000 emails relatively quickly, and you'd be surprised that you don't have to spend a single dime for it. So let's go right into it. All right, so huge favor, if you're not over on Instagram and following me, I highly encourage you to go check me out. But first, let's talk about the why. Let's talk about why are we even covering this topic in this particular session, in this particular channel. Well, an email list is extremely important because it's an asset that you control. And when you're online, it's basically the only asset that you can control, because think about it. You may be on Facebook and have an absolute following, a huge, massive following, and same thing with Instagram, even same thing here on YouTube. But guess what? In case your ad account gets hijacked and you lose it altogether, or for whatever reason, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube decide to ban your account or your channel, then guess what? You have no way to communicate to the outside world. I don't want to scare you, but that's a reality. There's a lot of folks that have gotten deplatformed over the last several months into years, and they just go away. So it's not that, they have an audience and they can go and try to recapture an audience, but when they lose their ticket on YouTube, when they lose their ticket on Facebook, on Instagram, it becomes incredibly harder to get that attention, to get that audience that they once built. So as far as an email and an email list is concerned, you absolutely want to start capturing emails and as much contact information as possible, because that is your ticket into people's inboxes, into people's phones, which is so valuable. And at that point, it doesn't matter if your social medias go away. Ideally, you don't want that because you want to continue growing, but that's why it's so important. It's a way for you to control an asset, and actually an asset that you can later sell on. So just be aware that you need to have appropriate disclosures in order to do all of that stuff, but just know that that's what ends up happening. Now, also, it's a great way for you to get some instant sales. So depending on the health of your email list, you could send out an email in the morning and have a full Stripe account, so that's your processing center, at the end of the day. So it's the same thing if you're just in the services business. If you're in the services business and are operating off of leads, like I know many real estate agents that are watching right now are, if you're in the services business and operate from a leads perspective, you can send out an email in that morning and have some clients showing them homes in the afternoon. It really is that powerful, but it all starts with you capturing somebody's contact information, somebody's email, and we're going to walk through how that happens today. And the last analogy that I want to give you in terms of why it's even important is think of it as having your own TV station. Think of it like having your own radio station. You control the message that goes out. You control the message that goes out into the airwaves, and you can use it to just inform. So that's when you send out an email that is full of content, full of value, something that people are going to find interesting and also find value in. That's just, regular programming. But then you can also transmit some commercials. So that's when you can sell your products. That's when you can sell your services. That's when you can get some money through your email list. So that is a fantastic, that's the best way that I've been able to explain to folks of the importance of having an email list, because it works very much the same way. You have regular programming, which is keeping your email list healthy by showing valuable information or sending valuable information, which equates to TV shows or movies. But then also in between those, you have the opportunity of sending commercials, which is, hey, buy my stuff, or hey, use me as your agent, or hey, use me as your insurance person, or hey, use me as in X, Y, and Z. So that's why it's important to have an email list. And I think that we understand that now more than ever, because we are in the online world and it's something that's becoming more and more prevalent. So let me know if that's making sense. If you have any questions, we'll absolutely dig into that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the how, which is capturing email. That's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about building an email list fast and for free. Capturing an email is the absolute, that's what drives everything. That's what we're here to talk about. But ultimately, if you don't have that email, then you don't have anywhere to send your awesome email to. So you don't have somebody's email list, then what value is it going to be to you? So when it comes to capturing people's email, you can do it in several different ways. You can have a website, whether that's a traditional website through WordPress, or if it's more of a commercialized website like a Wix or Squarespace website, those types of websites. You can do landing page generators where their only job is to get somebody's contact information. You can do it that way. There's so many different avenues that you can use to capture somebody's information. Now, the beauty about that is that when you drive somebody to your website, to your landing page, to some asset that you control that's collecting somebody's contact information, it's automated. You don't have to be there collecting somebody's information. You don't have to be, the best analogy that I have for this is in the church that I go to, it's like, hey, if you're interested in signing up for the carnival, go to the back and then we'll sign you in. Well, you don't have to be in the back. You don't have to be in the back. You could just give the directive of, hey, go to saintann.org and all that stuff and fill out your registration. It's the exact same thing. You don't have to man a table. You don't have to be anywhere physically to collect somebody's information. So that's why there's so much value in having a website that does that for you. Something else that a lot of email autoresponders do, and what an email autoresponder is, let me back up and explain that. An email autoresponder is a software that sends your emails at a certain time. A software that gives you the reports on, hey, these many emails were opened, these many emails got clicks, and these are the people that are unsubscribed for your email list. So whenever we're talking about emails and sending out an email to your entire email database, we're not talking about you going to your Outlook. We're not talking about you going to your Gmail and blind copying everybody else. So blind carbon copying, so BCC. We're not talking about that. We're talking about using a professional software, and my preferred one is Aweber. If you're interested in the free account, it's linked down below, where with the free account, you have up to 500 emails that you can email with regularity. Doesn't matter how many emails you send them. It's just 500 contacts that you're able to send email to for free. So the free account is linked down below, so check it out. And that's the one that I personally use for my mass emailing. So just have that awareness, have that understanding that whenever you're building your email list, especially when it starts getting into the thousands, you're not sending them manually because that's going to take forever. That's a bear and that's a chore. That's not something you have to do. So that's why a professional software like Aweber, Constant Contact, eye contact, these types of email softwares, the MailChimps of the world, the more the what's the other one? I can't remember the other old school one that kind of popped everything off. However, these are the email software that you can use. Those email software, those email autoresponders also have a little form that you get to collect somebody's contact information from. So basically what I'm suggesting is you need a place to drive people to give you their contact information. So that's, again, it can be a traditional website, it can be a landing page, it can be an email autoresponder opt-in, it doesn't matter. The last thing that you want to do is collect somebody's information in person. That is the slowest way of doing it. That's the most inefficient way to do it, and it's really not the preferred way of doing it. Now, I'll give you a little pro tip. As you're capturing somebody's email, one of the things that you can do, and we're talking about the strategies on how to find an audience, one of the things that you can do is you can ask people to email you. That's how you start building an audience. Now, that's still a little bit manual, but it's a great way for you to have somebody's real information. So if they're emailing you, well, they're using the real email. So that is a huge leg up. That's a huge advantage that you have with people emailing you directly. And that's something that you can have a lot of people do. So the way that I use this in some of the videos, and you followers of the channel, you have seen this in action. Whenever I share either a strategy or an ad copy or something that you find extremely valuable and you want the shortcut to, then I invite you to comment down below and send me an email. That's basically the format. That's basically the dance that ends up happening. Well, when you send me an email, guess what? I have your email now. That's cool, right? But then also, when you send me an email, I have the real email. And then lastly, when you send me an email, it shows a different level of engagement. So that is, I mean, that's something I do presently in some of the videos. Now, I don't overdo this. Now, be careful. You absolutely do not want to overdo this and make the call to action and everything that you do is send me an email. That's just not the best way of doing it. And I'll kind of go into the strategy on how that happens in a couple of seconds. Now, is this making sense? Let me know if it's making sense. It's something that I'm absolutely passionate about because I've seen the power of a healthy email list, what it can do for personal sales from a real estate perspective, but it's also shown me the power of what it can do from the online world. So whether that's the courses, whether that's the EXP partnerships that I've been able to form, it's just been so powerful being able to capture somebody's contact information. Now, I don't want to make it sound like it's extremely easy to do because in reality it's not, but it is simple. So there's a difference between easy and simple. So it is simple, but it's not easy. Now, what makes it even simpler, if you will, is having the understanding that whenever you're inviting somebody to reach out to you, whether that's through filling out the form on the landing page or sending you an email or just having a conversation with you physically, it doesn't matter. You have to make an offer. I'll repeat that again. You have to make an offer. You have to provide something of value in exchange for their emails, in exchange for their contact information. Oftentimes, and I see this time and time again whenever I'm doing some auditing for the agents that partner up with me and that are clients of mine, I see this time and time again where I'm watching a YouTube video and they're inviting the audience to call them. They're inviting the audience to email them. Well, there's that in and of itself, I guess it's a more of a promotional thing. I don't truly see that as a call to action or the best way to do a call to action, but they're not providing something substantive behind that. So people are not going to email you. People are not going to call you because they're not ready. Most of the people that watch your content, that read your blogs, that engage with you on Facebook are not ready to make a transaction that moment in time. It is extremely rare. You're talking about less than 5% of the entire population is ready, willing, and able to purchase your stuff at any given time. That's a very low percentage. So of that percentage, they have to like you very quickly. They have to be convinced that you're going to solve their problem. They have to have this trust with you, and that's incredibly difficult to do. So from that 5%, you're talking about a 1% actually converting. So that's the struggle. And when we invite people to, hey, give me a call if you're looking to buy or sell. Well, guess what? I may not be ready to buy or sell. I'm just exploring my options. I'm doing a little bit of research, but I'm going to go to that next video. I'm not going to call you because I'm not ready. So if I was ready, willing, and able to, maybe I would call you, maybe I would send you an email. But that's why it's so powerful, and that's why it's so important that you have the understanding of making an offer. And what that means is providing something of value in exchange. So instead of asking you, if I'm a real estate agent, which I am, by the way, if I'm asking you, hey, give me a call if you're interested in buying or selling. Okay, well, I've already segmented so many different people because 95% of the folks are not going to be interested in that at this point in time. They may be in a month, but they're not going to come back to your video and remember you. It's going to be rare that they do. So if you do that call to action, it's just not going to be effective. But if you do a call to action, hey, if you're interested in learning and how much home you can afford, check out the link down below, which is going to give you a calculator where you can estimate to the penny how much home you can afford. So there you're offering a calculator, you're offering something of value that what we're talking about is how much you can afford. So what you just did is took that 5% that are ready, willing, and able to sign on a dotted line right now, and you made that into 25, 35, 45% of the audience that can benefit from that. Because they may not be able to buy right now or may not be looking to buy right now, but they are interested in learning, well, if I was in the market, how much could I afford? And, I've been looking at these houses going up like crazy. They're $400,000 one day, and then next day they're $500,000. It just seems to be like the GameStop. It seems that the real estate, the GameStop stock, GameStop stock has been on a tear. It just seems that that's what the real estate industry has been doing, the real estate market has been doing for the last several years. So when we're talking about making that offer, we are expanding the folks that could potentially benefit from our offer, as opposed to that 5% that are ready, willing, and able to sign on the dotted line that moment. So that's why we make the offer. We make the offer to have a larger pool that we're speaking to that right then and there, and we are providing something that is completely non-threatening, where they're going to go to that link. They don't ever have to call me. They're going to see, all right, this calculator looks pretty valuable, and it looks like I have to input my email to receive it. Okay, I'll put in my email, and then boom, the email software takes over, and the lead magnet gets delivered. I kind of introduced lead magnet at the tail end. What we're talking about is something of value, a lead magnet, something that is an ethical bribe to get somebody's contact information. So the transaction is done. They receive something valuable for absolutely free. Emails are valuable. They receive something for something that they receive something that they never had to put a credit card behind. And then you receive an email, which you can later on continue that relationship with. Again, once they get added to your email, that's your television station. That's your radio station. You can start your regular programming. You can start your email sequence. You can start your selling sequence. And that's how you start expanding and growing. Is this making sense? Let me know if this is making sense. I absolutely want to make sure that we don't leave anything unturned at this point, because I just don't like doing that. So that's we've talked a little bit about the why it's important. We've talked about the how to do it, capturing somebody's information, talked about the logistics of how that's happening. And right now we just discussed making an offer, the importance of that, to where you're actually seeing some results. Now let's talk about finding an audience. We talked about the audience a couple of seconds ago, but finding an audience is extremely valuable, because if you're making all of these different lead magnets, creating all of these offers, and nobody is seeing them, it's like making an announcement in a room of, like I gave you the example of St. Anne's. So where I that's my parish. That's where I go to mass. So it's like standing in front of St. Anne's and making the announcements, but nobody is there. You need a venue. You need audience. You need traffic to drive people to the back of the church, right? Same thing here. You need traffic. Whether you make a video, whether you make a blog, whether you make a post, you need traffic. You need an audience. So one of the best ways, or some of the best platforms, I should rephrase that, some of the best platforms right now today where you're going to find traffic that's already here, that's being cultivated, is on YouTube. So you're part of it right now. There's a ton of traffic here. I didn't have to convince you to open up a YouTube account. I just happen to provide a topic that's of interest to you, that you came here, are participating in the live stream, hitting that like button. Thank you so much. And that's the exchange, right? So I'm on this one, on my live streams, I very rarely, and this one I won't at all, but I very rarely make an offer because I just want to have a conversation with you. I don't necessarily try to get somebody's contact information in our live stream. So there you go. Just giving you the the behind the scenes on that. So as we're talking about finding an audience, YouTube is a fantastic place to find an audience. Facebook is a fantastic place to find an audience, and Facebook groups, to be more specific. So Facebook groups is a great place that has a huge database, has a huge membership that you didn't have to cultivate. So if you're a real estate agent, there are a ton of groups out there that have buy-sell groups. So real estate buy-sell groups. There are garage sale groups. There are so many different places that you can go add a value to and offer that lead magnet to where people will gravitate towards you. That's called attraction marketing, which we covered about 2 weeks ago. We talked about attraction marketing and how you get sellers from it. So if I remember, I'll make sure I'll link it up here somewhere that will show you how to do attraction marketing to get seller leads for free. So keep in mind, at no point have I mentioned ads. This is something that you can absolutely do. You can run ads from Google, from Facebook, from Instagram, from YouTube, and start building your list exponentially quicker. But at no point did I suggest that you do that, because you don't need to. As long as you're providing something of value, making an offer, and getting that dialed in, you will never have to pay for ads unless you want to just completely go exponential in your business. So that's just up to you. Now, we talked about we talked about YouTube, we talked about Facebook group. Now let's talk about blogs. Blogs are still a fantastic place for you to get a lot of concentrated traffic, people that are going intentionally finding your blog and reading what you have to say, and then also getting your valued ad, getting your lead magnet. The lead magnet that you offer is very important. So that's how you go from being an educator into more of a marketer. So whenever you create your blogs, have ways for people to reach out to you instantly. Whether that's offering another calculator, whether that's offering a checklist, whether that's offering a cheat sheet, whatever it happens to be, have a way for people to give you their contact information. So don't educate just for the sake of educating, unless you just have, unless you're completely set and are doing this as a hobby, whatever, that's up to you. But I'm not necessarily in that place right now. So just giving you what works in my business. So blogs is a fantastic way for you to find an audience that's already been cultivated, and then they're gonna come to you. So you don't have to convince somebody to get online or buy or use the internet. You just provided something of value, again, similar to this video. You provided something of value in the form of a blog, and then you invited somebody to give you their contact information in exchange for a lead magnet, something that they felt was valuable, so an ethical bribe. And then another one that I'm really looking at intently right now, I haven't deployed too many strategies behind it in full fairness, is Pinterest. Pinterest is the sleeping giant that is one of the most visited websites out there. Now, personally, I don't have much of a dent in Pinterest. It's something that I do pins every single day through these videos, but as far as seeing some meaningful movement in my business, I just haven't seen it quite yet. However, I do have some good friends that are making a lot of money, getting a lot of leads through Pinterest, because it is very similar to YouTube in the sense of that it's a search engine. So Google, YouTube, you can see them as a search engine where people go to find answers, find solutions, and get ideas. So Pinterest is also another place that you can go to get some traffic. Now, again, the important thing here is that you're providing something of value, making an offer so people can claim that offer, which is basically them giving you their contact information in exchange for it. That's how you start building an email list incredibly quickly. And as we're talking about, well, where do we concentrate our efforts? Maybe I want to do YouTube. Maybe I want to do blogging as an example. Those are the two things that you might want to focus on. Well, what do I do now? Some SEO tools that I recommend are going to be YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube. Is going to be Keywords Everywhere. Keywords Everywhere is a fantastic tool that you can use, which is a a plugin that gives you the search volume, that gives you the competition score, that gives you the cost per click that advertisers are paying to advertise to those keyword phrases. So it gives you a heads up on, hey, this keyword or this keyword phrase is being searched considerably, and it's quite competitive, or it's not competitive at all. So you need to start writing a blog about it, or you need to make a YouTube video about it. So that's where you're gonna find the opportunities. And that's just one of them. So Keywords Everywhere is a fantastic tool. SEMrush, SEMRUSH, that's another fantastic tool for you to start using. And then I've never known how to say this. It's Ahrefs, Ahrefs. I've never figured out how to say that, but Ahrefs, especially if you're in the content game, which is what we're talking about. That's a fantastic tool that you can certainly use, and it's really helped me out build my blog incredibly quickly because I know which keywords to target. That'll help me rank incredibly fast. So, folks, get started on your email building list, or your email list building. That's a better way of saying it. Build an email list as quickly as possible, because that's where the value is. You may have 10,000 followers on Instagram. You may have 5,000 friends on Facebook, but if that goes away for whatever reason, what do you have at the end of the day? Start creating a safety net for you, because if Facebook goes away, you have crippled your business forever. If you're on, let's just say, if you do a blog and you're heavily ranked or #1 ranked on Google, the moment that Google makes an adjustment, which they frequently do on their algorithm, what if your blog that was ranking #1, that was getting you so much traffic, so much business, what if that went away all the way to page 3? Well, that is a nightmare scenario for you. So just be aware of that. But now that you're aware of that, it is your responsibility to start building your email list, because that's, again, how you're going to insulate yourself from all of these market sources that are not these market forces that are not going to always work in your favor. So just be aware of that. But folks, hey, this has been a fantastic time spent with you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. And I'm going to see you on Monday at 9 a.m. Central. Talk to you then.